Have you ever seen one of these? This is a Rubik's Cube. It's got 6 sides, 6 colors, 26 pieces, and roughly 43 quintillion ways to solve it. I first got into these when I was just a kid in like 6th grade, and I bought 1 cube, and 1 cube turned into 2. 2 cubes turned into 3, and then 3 turned into more than I could really count. This isn't what I used to have fully, but it's, you know, a decent little chunk. I had everything from 3x3s, 2x2s, 4x4s, 5x5s, these weird ones, colorless cubes like this that move and make all weird shapes and stuff. And I was obsessed with everything Rubik's Cubes, basically. The reason I loved it is that every solve was different. There was always room to get better, and I was always chasing a better time. And although by speed cubing standards, my time wasn't great, I think the fastest time was just about 20 seconds. When I got that time, I was ecstatic, and all the hard work that I did to practice solving the cube felt like it finally paid off. Although it wasn't until I was older, just kind of playing around with the cube like this, that I realized how many life lessons lie within the cube itself. To begin solving the cube, we solved the white cross. This cross is the cornerstone and the stepping stone to every single solve. It's our first challenge and our first opportunity to get our ducks in a row and organize our pieces a bit. Once we solve the white cross, it's time to move on to solving the first 2 layers. There's different ways to approach this step. Some solve the bottom layer first, some solve both layers at the same time, but it just shows us that there's more than one way to skin a cat. I personally like solving these layers at the same time, mainly for speed purposes. Solving the first 2 layers is an intuitive process for me, as I don't memorize any algorithms to solve it. I look at the pieces and where they lie in respect to each other, and try to match each corner to its respective edge piece. It's all about moving tactically in this step, and not only trying to set yourself up for your next move, but to use the least amount of moves as possible to increase your speed. Every move you make counts, and every move has a purpose. And now we're almost there. We have 2 layers solved, and we've provided a strong foundation to finish up and solve the last layer. And it kind of looks like we got it all figured out. But what happens if we go on cruise control? And what happens if we make a misstep? What happens if we mess up what we just previously solved? Now our entire cube is messed up, and everything we worked for is for nothing. Or so we thought. Yeah, we might have messed up and a couple building blocks got knocked out of place, but that doesn't mean that we can't put them back together. And not only that, but we know not to make the same mistake again. So the building blocks grow back stronger, knowing that there's one less mistake capable of messing them up. And when we finally do get back to solving the first 2 layers, we meet our toughest opponent yet, which is the last layer. And in order to solve the last layer, we have to memorize a whole bunch of algorithms in order to do so. Sometimes we don't have all the answers, and reaching for an outside source or asking help from an outside source can help us achieve our goal of solving the cube. These algorithms take time to memorize, and there's a different one for every situation. So it's up to you to recognize each situation, execute the correct algorithm, and do the right moves in order to set yourself up for success. Each step gets us closer and closer to our goal, but interestingly enough, every time we perform an algorithm, it seems as if we're messing up our progress. But eventually, when we do complete the algorithm, everything comes together and we're left with a cube with more progress than we had before. Sometimes we can't always see how situations are helping us, and sometimes it seems as if we are taking a step back, but trusting in the process will propel us further than we were before. And this last step used to make me so nervous as a kid. Not only does it look like everything is where it should be except for these last 3 pieces, but if I was to move anything, it's like I mess everything up and all the hard work I did is just useless. And it used to make me so nervous again, because if I did mess up, then I was really back to square one and had to do everything all over again. And I've definitely done that plenty of times. I've definitely had missteps and miscalculations to make me lose almost all of my progress. But one thing that I would never do is leave a cube unsolved, especially if I was the one to scramble it. Don't mind this one, by the way. I promise I'm going to solve it. Because in the end, it's really just giving up. And that's not something that I was prone to doing, and that was something I never wanted to do. So I had solved a cube before, which means I can solve a cube again. And all I had to do was do what I've done before. But when I do it right, and everything works out, the cube gets solved. And I beat it. I win. I overcame every challenge that it threw my way, and for the most part, every time you mix up a cube, it's a different solve than the one you had before, or any other one that you have ever solved before. Like I said, there's 43 quintillion ways to solve this thing, and I've really only solved it a fraction of that amount. And if you do start solving cubes and the regular one kind of gets too easy and the challenges become maybe a little bit too trivial, then you can go ahead and pick up something that'll give you a bigger challenge, or you can pick up one that'll actually give you a bigger challenge. I'll win that one. And might take a little bit longer to solve. You know, there's an endless amount of ways to challenge yourself with Rubik's Cubes, and I find that fascinating. Don't be afraid of different and harder challenges. Life is full of them, and shying away from new experiences or harder challenges will only leave you stagnant, and they're going to leave you solving the same cube over and over again. Taking on new journeys and adventures will lead you to growth, and it'll lead you to solve more and more cubes. Before you know it, you'll have an entire shelf full of solved cubes, and it'll serve as a pedestal for you to be able to kind of show off your accomplishments and be able to show everything that you've been through. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this topic. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Are there points you agree with or disagree with? I'd love to chop it up with you guys in the comment section. If you like this video, then maybe check out some of my other videos right here. Yeah, right there. Or you can subscribe right there, and I'd appreciate it. Either way, I can't wait to hang out with you guys next week. Peace.